you guys can think. So let's go to the next section of the meeting, very first section of the meeting, which is education session by a person who is a passionate storyteller. He is my mentor, and he is going to deliver a session on mentor-mentee relationship, and it's so amazing, and I can say proudly that the person who is going to deliver session on this, I have chance to meet him at least thrice a week. Uh, he is my mentor actually. So I think without any further ado, I should welcome distinguished Toastmaster Aniket. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for past division I director and a passionate storyteller, a mentor to everyone and guru of the Electronic Street Toastmasters Club, distinguished Toastmaster Aniket Amdekar.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I wish my mother was here. She would be so proud. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. How many of you have had your tea already?
I had it
already having. Okay, nice. Okay, good. Because for me, the word mentoring and tea are really close to each other. Because whenever I am wanting to meet any of my mentees, I said, "Pehle chai pilao," and that is where the conversation begins. So let me take you back in the year 2016, and I was working in a company called Akamai Technologies, and at that time I had just installed this app called as Zomato. How many of you are super users of Zomato? Level 10, 15, 20, I don't know what levels you may have reached. Yes. So I had just downloaded Zomato, and I used to go to a lot of restaurants, and I was passionate about taking pictures, doing reviews, and becoming an expert in Electronic City, Kormangala, a lot of different areas. When you post more than 10 reviews in an area, you become an expert. So with all of these things going on, I received an email saying that, hey, we have something called Toastmasters session at 3rd floor today. So I reached there for a 3 p.m. session. I was there at 2:55. And I don't see any toasters anywhere. I don't see any bread anywhere, no butter, nothing to eat, and I was disappointed. And that is when they told me, oh, this is like that kind of Toastmasters. I said, okay, cool. They asked me to come on stage and speak on the topic. I went on the stage and spoke on a topic. People were laughing for the first time. In my life, I could make people laugh. This is totally new. Now that had me hooked. Then I went back to the club again. I started to deliver my first speech, second speech, third speech. And then one day I got a call from my VP education, who's the educational guru of a club, saying that, hey, we have assigned you a mentor. So I asked, so what kind of help can I get from a mentor? Oh no, when you need your speeches to be reviewed, only then you call your mentor, okay? I said, okay, that works. Now, this has been my vision and my definition of Toastmasters until I joined Electronic City Toastmasters Club. And I was the VP Education. I attended the TLI, the training that is being given by the official Toastmasters. And that is when the true dimension of Toastmasters was really brought out in front of me. That's when I was also assigned 2 mentees. And I was told, you have to help them write their icebreakers. I said, that's interesting. I've never done that before. So when I worked with them, at that time, the process of writing a speech became more clear. When I worked with them and my mentee, going on the stage, delivering a speech, getting a standing ovation, I was getting goosebumps. I said, this is it. I am liking this. So my dear friends, we have all had mentors. Sometimes they are assigned to us by someone else. Sometimes it is your boss who is your mentor because you learn so many things from him or her because they are your point of inspiration. One day, let's say you are working as a senior analyst or a tech lead and you want to become a director one day. And they say, okay, maybe when I become a director, I want to be like him. How many of you have had this kind of experience in your office or in your nearby, in your network mainly, where you looked at someone, their leadership styles, the way they speak, the way they are able to inspire people, and you think, okay, if I am becoming a director, I would like to be like him. So at that point of time, this is where inspiration starts to flow. This is where Either you go walk up to that person and say, will you help me in grooming myself? And you ask them to be your mentor. But very few times actually people do this, where you walk up to someone and say, can you be my mentor? This is really where Toastmasters comes into picture. So all the guests who are there in the meeting today, I believe that this session would be helpful to all the guests, because you would get to know, apart from getting an opportunity to speak on a stage where people will appreciate you, they will help you to grow you as yourself as a speaker, as a leader. One of the best things that you get from Toastmasters are mentors. So when it comes to the mentor and the mentee relationships, there are two sides of it. For example, in Hindi, they say, "Tali dono haathon se hi bajti hai." So very similarly, a mentor and mentee relationship only works when both of them work together. And many a times, if you look at the journey of mentoring, the way it begins is you get an email or a WhatsApp message stating that you have been assigned a mentee, or you get a mail saying that you have been assigned a mentor. Now, what do when you get this email? My question to the audience, put it into the chat. You can unmute yourself and you can answer. I would like to listen to your voices as well. What would you do? What do you do when you get this kind of a message?
I will first call my mentee.
You will call your mentee, okay?
Sorry, mentor. I mean, mentor or mentee, whatever.
Whichever. Or you'll make a call, okay? Yeah. Thank you. What else? Any other responses? Lots of silence here. You can put it into the chat as well. It's all right. But making that call is important. As Ashish said, that a lot of times mentoring, the way it begins is, hey, hi, my name is Aniket. I am assigned as your mentor. And when are you delivering your next speech? Hey, hi, my name is Aniket. You have been assigned my mentor. I want to write my next speech. When do we talk? Now, this is how the conversations begin. But in my opinion, the way the conversations should begin is get on a call to understand who the person is. Because if I'm mentoring Sonal, if I'm mentoring Vipul or Sumit or Ashish, all of these four are different people. All of them have their own needs. All of them have their own goals, which is why the way I will speak with Vipul, what I will speak with Vipul will be very different from what I will speak with Sumit, because the context is different. Remember, when you get into Toastmasters, you want to go from point A to point B, and this is the medium for doing that. Now, the point where you are starting is different from one person to another. As Vipul said earlier, this is the meeting, or our club is a community club, which means we have college students, we have professors, we have housewives, we have a lot of professionals, people who are aspiring to go to an MBA maybe one day, want to go to a higher education, a different country. So if you look at Sumit, he is an aspiring astronomist as well. So everyone have their own different goals. And you are not in Toastmasters to be good at Toastmasters. You are in Toastmasters to be good outside of Toastmasters. So what you're doing here, how is that contributing to that goal, is very important. And this is also where mentoring comes into picture. So let me speak to the mentors in the room first. Where when you get a mentee assigned, what you should be doing is give a call to the mentee and have a discussion about why did they join? What is their why behind Toastmasters? Somebody may have joined that, hey, I want to become a director in 2 years from now, and I want to start refining my communication. Somebody might say, I want to get into an MBA college, let's say IIM or some other country, and I am preparing to improve my language and my confidence when I speak in front of the jury. So when you ask open-ended questions as to what is the goal, you get more and more information. When you ask a Toastmasters question, you get a Toastmasters answer. A Toastmasters question is, why are you in Toastmasters? What's a Toastmasters answer? I am here to improve my communication and leadership styles, because that is what is written on all the flyers. That is what is written when you join the meeting, when you go to the Toastmasters website. Although that is true, but it translates to a very different in-person goal for each and every person. You want to keep it?
No, I want to check.
1 second. Okay. Just give me 1 second. One of my mentees has just walked in, and and that mentee. Okay, how about give me to 30 minutes? Okay, thank you.
But I need to check with you. This.
I will check 30 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you. So you see, what just happened with a mentor and a mentee happens a lot. When you are in the middle of a work and your mentee calls and she is working on a speech, or he wants to do a session, he wants to do and participate in a contest, but you are not able to give that time, what do? One of the things that a mentor should do is, if you are not able to help now, tell them when you would be able to help and make sure that you are trying to keep that commitment. And I must say, I am not very good at this. I'm not able to give a lot of time to my mentees. However, that 1%, when I do interact, I try to add that value. So going back to the conversation that I was having with all of you, to the mentors, having that initial conversation about why are you in Toastmasters, very important. Number 2, what are the issues? Because somebody, you may have already been on a stage with thousands of people in your crowd, and you are coming with that background, which means in your mind, stage is not a fear. You are not here to kill that fear. You are here to excel, to propel yourself to the next level of excellence. So if that is your goal, that means I, as a mentor, have the responsibility to push you to the next level. The challenges that I will keep in front of that mentee would be very different as compared to if I have someone who is a college student who is assigned to me, and that person is not very confident in speaking with people, on talking with their faculty. If I put the different challenges in front of this person, it would work in a very different way. So in essence, mentoring is a very person-specific thing. And mentoring or becoming a mentor is also an opportunity to learn something new. Now, everyone who is married, you have been spending a lot of time with your spouse. So you understand that person very well. If you notice a small, slight change in their voice, you know that they are either very happy, they might be distracted, they are distraught, and you might just go and, hey, what happened? So when you have that kind of a connection with a person, that can only happen when you spend time with them. This is my next point. When you understand the goals, when you understand the gaps, the next one is spending time. So that first call between the mentor and the mentee is all about understanding the mentees. Where are they coming from? What are their passions? Okay, let me tell you a quick story. I was assigned a mentee just for one speech 2 weeks ago. This is a new person who just joined Toastmasters in IFI Toastmasters Club. And that guy called me and said, hey, I'm trying to do my icebreaker tomorrow. So what do I speak? I said, okay, so what are your passions? He said, I'm passionate about finance. I do a lot of stock broking. And I said, okay, who are your idols here? Who do you read about? Who do you talk about? He told me Bill Gates is somebody he always speaks about. He said, Birla is also someone he likes to research about. Then I went a little bit deeper. Why do you think these two people are very important to you? He told me that. Then I said, when was that first time you fell in love with finance? That's when he told me that he did a stock market, like a day trading for the first time 5 years ago, and he was able to earn 5,000 rupees. And from that day onwards, his interest became a skill. And now that skill is trying to convert that into a profession. And that's why he's in IFI Toastmasters Club. And I said, you have your icebreaker speech right here. You speak about yourself. Where are you from? Who are your idols? What are your passion? And connect that with IFI. And now you are here in Toastmasters to learn, not just to make money, but how to speak about it. Because in the end, it's all about how well you can speak about your passions. So what I did here is I use questions as tools to dig more information, to understand that person a bit more deeper. Because mentoring is all about the mentees. It doesn't matter how much you know as a mentor. All that matters is how much you care as a mentor. I'll repeat, doesn't matter how much you know. All that matters is how much you care. And this message is to everyone who aspires to be a mentor one day, but has not yet taken up mentoring, who might be thinking that, hey, I have only given like 6 speeches so far, only 2 levels done. How can I become a mentor? But if you can learn to care about your mentee, you can be a mentor. All it takes is you helping someone to write their speech, you helping someone to understand their strengths. So I would like to interact with all the mentors in the club right now. Can you raise your Zoom hand? Everyone who is a mentor currently in the club, raise your Zoom hand, please. Prateek. Hi, Prateek. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes. Hi, Aniket.
Hey, hi. So Prateek, can you tell me, out of all the mentees that you have,
Yes.
what are their strengths? Give me one name and a strength that person has.
Okay. So I am currently mentoring 3 people: Preeti Vishwakarma, and Nikhil Joy. Okay. So talking about Preeti, one thing that I really appreciate about Preeti is that she is extremely determined and is keen to improve. For instance, when she joined in, we had a conversation regarding what kind of a path we should take up.
Yeah.
And after a couple of discussions and a back and forth here and there, she finally took up a path. I encouraged her to take up a role. And what I realized was, though she won the Best Role Taker award, she realized that she has a long way to go and she has a strong hunger, I would say, to improve and progress.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Prateek. I could also see that Ashirvad had raised his hand. Ashirvad, if you can unmute yourself. Ashirvad, are you there? Okay, anyone else? Any other mentors in the house? Ashish?
So this question is only for mentors or for mentees
Yes,
also?
only for mentors.
Right now, actually, I'm not active in mentoring.
Okay.
So I'm very active mentee right now, but not as a very active mentor.
Okay, sure. So one of my mentees, let me speak about myself. Because without taking names, what I would say is one of my mentees, he is very good in speaking. He is very good in organizing things. But when it comes to setting a goal, a lot of times he sets a very easy goal. He achieves that goal and he becomes happy. He gives me a call and says, hey, you know what? I went to this club. I got the best speaker award today. I said, okay, very good. Good job. Now go to LA 1924 and get me a best speaker award in LA 1924. Then you call me and I will come and give you a pedha myself. So the challenge that I saw here along with the quality is the goals that have been set have been a bit lower, that can be set a bit higher. So this is also something that a mentor should do, is understand the strengths, understand the weaknesses and push them in the right direction. You as a mentor have a very important task to do, because if someone calls me and says, hey, I'm not able to write that speech, and I say, no, but you did not do that last 2-3 times also, right? So in that case, that person might not feel very well. So being very motivating is one of the core aspects of being a mentor. Another aspect is patience. Patience is a virtue, they say, but you really get to experience that and test how much of patience you have when you become a mentor. You have a WhatsApp group. You are fired up today. You post a message. Hi all, can we meet? And all you get is silence. When you call your mentee and say, hey, can you please take up a speech today in the coming meeting? And you get to hear, actually, I'm not prepared right now. Can I give 2 weeks later, please? A lot of times when you contact your mentees, but you don't hear back. Now, sometimes people get discouraged and say, no, my mentees, no one responds to me. As a mentor, I've reached out to them so many times. People just don't reach out back at all. So at that time, this is the time when a mentor needs to change the strategy. If everyone communication as a broadcast is not working, go one-on-one. If they're not responding, you have to be persistent by calling them 1, 2, 3 days in a row, post a message. Make sure that the mentee understand that this guy is going crazy. I need to call him back. My mentor cares for me. Even if I don't care about my goals, my mentor cares for me. And if that feeling you are able to deliver to your mentees, that is the point when that connection would happen. Because it's not about an Excel sheet which ties you to your mentor. It is that connection that you build when you have a call, when you care, when you celebrate. When you celebrate as a mentor, you celebrate the win of your mentee. When you feel bad, when your mentee gets time disqualified, when you feel bad, when is not able to make it to a speech that she had prepared so well. Now, when you are feeling this, that is when the connection happens. Now, I've been speaking enough with the mentors. Let me speak with the mentees, everyone who will be assigned a mentor, who I'm sure everyone here has been assigned a mentor. So, tell me one thing. Again, you can unmute yourself, you can put it into the chat, your choice, your words, and your way of communication. So the question is, for what all things do you contact your mentor?
I contact for my speeches, and I contact my mentor even though I feel low sometime. I just call my mentor, and I just speak my heart out, and I feel much better. So to this extent, to focusing on to my speak, to that extent I utilize.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Ashirbat. Really in line with the point that I was trying to make. Yes, Ashish.
Yeah, so when I am assigned a mentor, I talk about speeches, I talk about my Toastmasters school. But when I start understanding my mentor with time, and it happened actually, and when I started realize that I can get help apart from Toastmasters in public speaking, then, and when I crossed 2 years with same mentor, then I realized that now I can share almost everything, all goals and whatever I want to achieve in life. So right now, I meet my mentor whenever I want, at least 2-3 times a week, and whenever I talk to my mentor, whatever I want to talk and discuss.
Thank you so much, Ashish. Gaurav, Preeti, who else is here? Sandeep.
Yeah,
Can I
so
hear from
I
you?
talk to my mentor when, of course, for speeches. And when I feel lost, I mean, when I feel that I'm not making progress, or even if I'm not giving speeches, I try to seek inspiration, what could get me going. So whenever I feel lost, I try to connect with my mentor.
Thank you. Thank you. Preeti?
I have connected for speeches and choosing the paths as well. But also the feedback after any speech, I connect with him for feedback.
Very important. Feedback is the backbone of Toastmasters. I would like to speak with Nitin Agrahari. You have been a Toastmaster before. I've seen you on bigger stages with bigger audiences. Nitin, can you share your experiences? Have you had mentors when you were an active Toastmaster? Yes, Nitin.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, your voice is breaking a lot.
No, privilege having. Okay. I think I have some lot of supervise may not be clear.
Nitin, why don't you put it into the chat? I think there's a bandwidth issue going on. If you can put it into the chat, that'll be really good. I can
think
see
that.
Yeah, I think there's the issue is there. I can see you now. Can you try again? Okay, I can see AR has also raised his hand. I'm sorry, I'm not able to.
Anand here.
Hey, hi Anand. Yeah.
Thanks, Aniket. First of all, this is really an eye-opener. I was quite, to be honest, unsure about when should I contact my mentor. Should I contact him after my first speech, or should I even contact him before that? I was not even sure. So, what is the role that I should be looking at? For my mentoring and other coaching needed. So this is kind of really eye-opener. I will now go ahead and contact my mentor going forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Anand. Yeah. So your mentor is there to help you understand your strengths. Remember, when you are a part of a picture, you can't see the picture. It can only be seen by someone else who is standing apart. You can't see your own eyes without a mirror. Very similarly, it is your mentor who will be your mirror, who would be able to see qualities in you that you don't know that are there. On this part, I would like to share, I mean, I had a slide deck with, to showcase, but I've always felt that having an interaction with all of you is much better than showing a slide, because a slide does not have life. Yeah, this is me and my mentor, Arun. This is when I was acting as an area director. I had taken up the role as an AD. So what he told me is that, as I'll just read it out, I've noticed that you are good at creative thinking and you get an idea, you jump on it. What you need to learn is to plan and execute projects, bigger projects. So setting eyes on bigger goals and then starting to work on it. So the initiative that I am running right now called Banar Sena, where I tell stories, I would say the genesis of that somewhere was in this gap that Arun had identified, that I can look for bigger projects and I can continue and deliver them or work on them. Now, very important thing, when do you call your mentor? For your speech, certainly call. After your speech, definitely call. If you are not sure, should I back out from my current slot? Don't call your mentor. Just go to the meeting, deliver your speech. Make that as a rule of thumb, that never ever back out from your slot, no matter how poorly prepared you are. Remember, it is not just that speech. It is you keeping that commitment that will build you as a speaker. Okay, now, when else do you call your mentor? When there's a speech contest coming out, you see the poster is there, but are you ready to contest in that bigger level? Call your mentor and ask. Sometimes you feel that you're ready, you might want to validate that with your mentor, especially when you are contesting and you want someone to verify that you are working in the right direction. Imagine this, I have worked on a speech for 2 weeks and I very happily go in front of my mentor and say, Sarji, I'm going to win this contest. Look at this best award-winning speech, the best speech in the world. And the mentor says, yeah, we have a lot of work to do. Okay, we have a lot of work to do. This is a true story between Darren LaCroix and his mentor that is very famous. Darren LaCroix was already a paid professional speaker, working on stages, coaching people, preparing for the international speech contest. And when he went to his mentor with that speech with a lot of grin on his face, but what he was told is still there's a lot of work to do. And the next thing that a mentee really needs is persistence. Because what I have seen many times is mentees contact the mentors asking for some help, asking for some guidance, but they don't hear back. They don't get either they don't get a timely response because the mentor might be busy, or there could be another conflicting priority, but for some reason you don't get that response. In that case, you need to go back the next day and set that expectation really right. So an example that I would like to share is between me and Sonal, who is my mentee. Now, earlier when we started to work together, there used to be conflicting priorities, rather conflicting times. She's calling me, I'm busy. She called me again, I'm still busy. Until we had a conversation that my work hours are 2 to 11 p.m. You call me anytime before 2 o'clock, I would be available. When we had that conversation, now she knows that if she wants to call me, it's before 2 o'clock. And at that time, I would be available. Now that's my part. What about the other mentors? Have you guys had this discussion with your mentees that when is it that you would like to connect with your mentees? When is the good time to connect with them? Okay, so now before we wrap up, I have 10 minutes left. I would like to take up any questions from the audience. If you have any questions, now would be a perfect time to take that. Anyone? Any questions?
Aniket, I just wanted to correct you. Your mobile doesn't reach. Okay, before 2 p.m. also, anytime I'll call, it won't reach. So
Yes.
you're kind of unreachable, and
Yeah.
It's really a big issue for me right now because I can't commit anything.
I know.
Maybe
See,
you
there are
take
issues.
some free sim like Geo or anything, then maybe it can work out.
Okay, another session, another learning for all the mentors. Please keep your phones. Otherwise, whenever you deliver a session, there would be a comment like this. So, which is why having that availability and the understanding is important. But Sonal, WhatsApp would be the preferred medium, and I'm sure we can work on this. Okay, so the first meeting, I'm just going to quickly take you through a few slides. And remember, this is the time for questions. If you have any questions, comments, notes, complaints, now is the time. Okay, so preferably outside the meeting. Yes, go on.
Aniket, so in the interest of the new members who are joining,
yes,
can you tell the steps they should follow in initial 2 to 3 weeks,
okay,
so that they know the they know the Toastmasters platform, they get to know the mentor and what they need to do, they get to know the whole space.
Yeah.
What are the actions they should take with the mentors?
Great, really great question. Thank you. I think the first 2 weeks and the first 45 days in the new company and in Toastmasters, very important. When you get, I think, getting to understand Toastmasters as a platform is very good, which means log into the Toastmasters website, choose your path. When you take that quiz, it'll give you 3 options and you would be confused. Should I take path 1, 2, 3? Now, this is where your conversation with your mentor comes into picture. So as soon as you get assigned a mentor, have that first call with the mentor. Try and understand what are your priorities. Do you want to work on your leadership skills? Do you want to work on your professional skills? How do you rate yourself between 1 and 10? Is it something which is like English grammar is an issue that you want to focus on, or clarity of thought, or confidence on stage, or the way you write good language? What is the priority where you would like to work? Set a goal. Setting a goal is extremely important for the first 2 months. Maybe you can set a goal like, okay, in the first 2 months, I would like to take at least 3 to 4 roles in the meetings and give at least 2 speeches. Icebreaker and 1 more speech. Now that's a very specific, measurable, time-bound goal where you know that what are you going to achieve, you will know how much time you have, and what all things do you need to do that. Now, as you're going through this experience, this is where I think that first 2 weeks would be crucial. Next thing is, in our WhatsApp group, when our VP education posts the agenda message, the following roles are open. Discuss with your mentor and go and take up the role of timer, R-counter, grammarian. Explore, because when I did the R-counter role for the first time about 4 years ago, I found it really difficult to focus and write down all the R's and M's. When I took up the role of a timer for the first time, I was so engrossed in the speech, I forgot to time the speaker. So these are the things where you get to learn how to time very well. You get to learn how to listen very well. Each of these rules, the timer, the R-counter, the grammarian, they have a thought process behind it. When you are trying to understand and evaluate and appreciate the good language used by the audience, your understanding of the language is also increasing every time you take that role. So that's also a very important thing, to set the goals, choose your path, discuss with your mentor, and nominate yourself and make the best of this opportunity. Another thing, a rule that I try to follow personally is when I'm going to the meeting, any meeting, I must get stage time, stage time, stage time. So either I will become a timer, R-counter, grammarian, or general evaluator, or a speech evaluator, or a table topic speaker. So table topics are extremely important. Your best way, even if you have not been able to commit to a role earlier, but you still are a part of the meeting. So try and make sure that you get the speaking opportunity in table topics. So that's another approach of going for it. And one more note to all the mentors is, try and have a session with all of your mentees together in the same meeting, maybe in a Zoom meeting, WebEx meeting, audio call, whichever it is. Try and connect with all of your mentees in one session. Maybe you went to a conference and you learned something new. try and teach that to your mentees. You will know more things. And try and push your mentees to more and more challenges. If you know that this person is capable of handling the stage, push them to become an MOC in a different club. If you know that this person is getting really good at evaluations, send them to an evaluation contest, maybe in our club or in a different club. Because what you learn in a different club is very different than what you learn in our own club. Because in our club, the audience is familiar. In our club, you have your comfort zone. But in a different club, you don't know anyone. The only thing that you know is what you know. Everything else is an unknown. And this is where you get to explore and understand a different side of you in a different club, in a different role. So definitely go for it. I hope that answers your question, Vipul.
Yes, Aniket, thanks.
Any other questions?
I do have one question.
Sure.
So I'm not quite very engaged with because I joined in January after that lockdown and situation turned upside down. So me getting a confidence to be on the stage, to interacting with the people, I thought this virtual makes me very difficult, because being a personality of having introvert features, I have very different problems with the communication, because even my thoughts are messed up most of the time. So what my mentor suggested, so I just googled this Toastmaster meeting, and I get to know there are 12-13 questions. You can track down your own path, you can check down your own competency, and then you will be able to know like what you have and what you haven't, and you can opt it for a particular pathway. After that, I start tracking myself down. Okay, this is a level 1, this is a meeting. But for every speech, I have to listen for almost like 2 hours. So there are so many audios, there are so many videos, there are so many presentations. You get to know what this role is about, and this takes a lot of time for me. And I sometimes feel like whom to ask and like how to ask, because I'm quite messed up in all these things. I don't know how this mentor-mentee actually functions. I know this is a relationship established over time. You even my mentors don't know about me. Even I don't know most about them. So how to go about this complexity and of
Your last sentence is your first step. You get to know more about your mentor, and the mentor should get to know more about you. See, public speaking is like walking. When you enter, let's say when you are 6 months old, 1 year old, you don't know how to walk. You are starting to crawl in table topics. Then you will start to write your first speech, which is just like taking your first step in walking. You can't do that on your own. You need literal hand holding with both hands every time you do that. Until you gain confidence, you start to walk on your own, but you will still fall. This time the mentor will step back and watch you walk. Then, as you have started to walk really well, now the mentor should be putting you on a slope and see how you walk on a slope. Now the mentor should put you in a race and see how well you can run. So it's a gradual process that needs its own time and effort by you as well as the mentor. And I'm sure, and yeah, one more thing. Each and every speaker have their own way of working. When I decide to speak on, let's say, mental health, in that case, I will do a deep dive into mental health for a week. I will have this much of content prepared and deliver this much. But this much of content is my research. It is still there with me. Now that's my process. Maybe someone else's write down each and every word. They will practice. If they are satisfied with the practice, then they go on stage. So you identify your own way of working. So that is what will make you more independent. So you work with your mentor to start learn how to write well, how to speak well. Then the mentor will give you guidance on what to do, and you follow your own process, right? Because the idea is not to make you totally dependent on the mentor. The idea is to make you Atmanirbhar, as Modi ji says. And this mentoring is a process to make you Atmanirbhar. I hope.
One supported question with this, okay?
Sure. I love questions.
So when it's on like offline meeting is there, you go to the meeting, you have doubt, you have so many people, you just interact with the people, like Okay, Ashish, I have this question. Okay, Gaurav, I have this question. It is easy. Now, when it's total personal space, when we say WhatsApp, it's a personal space. Just like right now, Sonal pointed out that you didn't pick the call or your phone is switched off. So sometimes all I think based this personal boundary is like to be on the space or be not in the space. Like
It's like this. You send a message that are you available? I want to discuss something. The person responds that yes, I am available. You give them a call, and then you discuss things. It's also about if let's say Vipul is your assigned mentor, no one is stopping you from calling Sudhish or Sumit or me. You can contact anyone, and this mentoring can be very specific. Did you know that when it comes to the international speech contest finals, people have a different mentor for humor, different mentor for delivery, different mentor for writing. So it depends on what you need. You can contact that kind of a mentor. And fortunately, really fortunately, our club is brimming with mentors, whereas other clubs are facing a big dearth of mentors. They don't have any mentors available, even if they are in existence for more than 16 years. So which is why good mentors is a treasure to have. It's all about how you use it.
Hi, Aniket. Pratik this side.
Hi, Pratik.
Yeah, very quick question. Rather, it's a follow-on question of what Deepa just asked. In fact, I was having a conversation with Gaurav the last week. Gaurav, if you will remember, we were talking about the online meeting and the challenges it throws.
Yes.
So, as Deepa pointed out that face-to-face interaction is missing, is there something we as a club can do to ensure that this connect is not lost and we engage a little more fruitfully? Maybe is there some discussion we can have on that?
Sure. What I remember in the last few meetings is when the meeting has ended, a lot of people still stay connected, and we have a very open chat with chai in hand and sometimes pakodas in hand, and it goes on for 1 hour also, sometimes 30 minutes also. That is one platform where we can connect. But I totally agree that after the meeting, when you get to get to meet someone and have a discussion with them, at that time you don't have to plan it because everyone is there in the room. You don't have to plan that, oh, I have to call Deepa and I speak with her at 6 p.m. But the thing is, we have to work with what we have. So, which is why, looking at the pandemic situation that we're facing, the only way we can do this is we can plan. So, if you want to go into leadership, if you want to have a discussion on humor or any other point, mentoring itself. So maybe you can work with the executive committee here, where because we have a pool of mentors, maybe a common call can be arranged, and anyone who has any questions, doubts, or queries, suggestions, we can get that discussed on that call without, I would say, consuming this time in the meeting. Although we can share the discussion or MOM from there in the meeting. Is that in line with what you're asking?
Yes, so I just had a suggestion on this. It just came almost impromptu. So if we can have some kind of a game-based system, some kind of a group online game.
Yeah.
So like we are like around 50 members, if I'm not mistaken. So if 50 people can form 5 team or 10 teams of 5 members each, and we can have, some kind of online Scrabble kind of a game, level-wise game. And on one of the meetings, we have, say, dedicate 15 minutes of that slot to a final round, which everybody watches. So that would increase the member level engagement. This is just a suggestion. It is up to the EC to accept or reject it. Just a suggestion.
Absolutely. And gamification is certainly a booming area. People are introducing gamification in everything. So why not in Toastmasters, and especially, and I've seen this before in the different club where they have split all the members across 4 different mentors, and they had, if you remember the Roadies platform, in Roadies they have something very similar. You have gang leaders, and in every gang leader you have a gang, and then there are tasks, and there's face off and all that. So I think something similar can be done, but very good idea. I'm sure EC would consider this. I'm not sure how well or how feasible it is. I'm sure we can explore that.
Just to answer Pratik, last week we started something called member network session, which is basically a session within the meeting, which was done by earlier JP and then DTM Arun, and where we broke out all the members into six breakout rooms, and
I was
they
there.
had
Yeah,
an
I was.
interaction, right? So that is something we have brought in. We can talk about these ideas also, maybe offline then. Okay.
Yeah, sure, Vipul. You always have my support on this.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. It's already 5:04, but I think the questions, see, the conversation is really good. For the first time, we are having an entire conversation on mentoring for more than 60 minutes in the last maybe 2 years. So it is great to have all these questions, and I'm sure all the guests who are in the room who are considering to be a part of Toastmasters. I would like to speak with all the guests in the room, non-Toastmasters. Do you have any questions or any queries or curiosities?
Hi, sorry. I missed your point because it dropped out for a minute. I'm Rajkumar here, by the way. Could you please
Hey,
repeat?
sure, Rajkumar, thank you. I was just asking because everyone who is not yet a part of Toastmasters, if you have any comments or any curiosities or any questions about mentoring in Toastmasters, you can ask now.
No, as I think other members said, it was quite good to listen to the speech to understand how mentor and mentorship works. Um, for me, I have a couple of experiences, both as a mentor as well as mentee in my professional space. But I think as a Toastmaster and the Toastmaster Club, it will really be helpful. And at this point in time, I don't really have any question, but I think most of the questions were asked by a few members. So yeah, thanks for those questions and thanks for the speech. It was really useful.
Thank you so much, everyone, for giving me this stage time. Really appreciate it. It's great to speak with all of you, to hear from so many mentors and mentees. Remember, I would just like to leave with all of you with one message. Doesn't matter how much you know, all that matters is how much you care. With that, I'll hand the stage back to the MOC Distinguished Toastmaster Ashish Kumar Barwa.
Thank you so much, DTM Aniket. And